Welcome to selfdiscoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Ignite Your Heart and Soul right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my wonderful guest is Renae Peterson. What are we going to be talking about today? Well, she says, when a woman remembers who she is, she becomes unstoppable. Yay, perfect topic. She's a master spiritual coach practitioner, international speaker, founder of Unwritten, the 10-Girl Empowerment Academy, award-winning empowerment coach, and for nearly 2 decades, Renae has been on a mission to transform lives from the inside out. As a spiritual psychologist, empowerment coach, international speaker, she helps women and teen girls break free from the generational wounds, limiting beliefs and emotional blocks, guiding them to rise with clarity, confidence, and an unshakable self-trust. Renae's work blends spiritual intelligence, emotional mastery, and conscious leadership, empowering her clients not only to just heal, but to claim their power, rewrite their narratives that have helped them, kept them small. Her approach isn't about surface level change. It's about deep identity evolution, nervous system healing, and stepping into full energetic sovereignty. Love it, love it, love it. Perfect topic, right up my alley. Welcome to the show, Renae.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Number one, any form of healing, any form of self-identity, any form of living is inside out.
Absolutely.
Number one, so many people are searching out there for their identity, being defined by out there and all the expectations. And they wonder why they're not connecting with life, with people, with anything else, because it has to come from within.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the game changer. I think so many of us have been conditioned and trained as well to look outside of ourselves for that validation, to look outside of ourselves for those answers, to take the courses, read the books, and then we get it all cognitively, but to do the deeper work and the embodiment and the clearing on an energetic level, it's everything. So
There's another magic word, energetic.
yeah.
People think energy is something you plug into a wall.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything has an energy signature.
Totally. We're made of energy.
Exactly. We're made of the universal energy. We're all particles of, right? And it's the energy we put out is the energy we receive, but it's also the energy that heals us from within in all levels. It's how to tap into that energy.
Absolutely. Well, I think if you're posing that as a question, I think as women, and I see it in my young teen girls, it's like there's still this, these wounds, these patterns, these epigenetic tags, if you will, to go into the science that has been tagged on the DNA that we're carrying within us. Those blocks, those things that distract us, those patterns like of the people pleasing or the overgiving or even like the over hyper independence and all of those behaviors. It's two sides of the same coin, right? The conforming or the rebellion, whichever one it is. And I'm saying, let's get back into the middle, into that feminine energy, into that essence of who we were born and came to be. And yet at the same time, like thinking back to those little girls that we were and those wonders, and then you just see the patterns and the conditioning start to, unveil themselves and reveal themselves. And it takes away from that authentic core, that essence, that sovereignty, right? I mean, some people that might be like, I don't know, what does that even mean? Well, to govern oneself.
Yes. Yes. From the central core of your being.
Yes, from
Right,
that knowing place.
yes, which I call the knowingness.
Yes.
That's when the wisdom speaks to your soul, that resonates in truth with your heart, that sets your spirit into action for your mind to know what it needs to know in clarity when it needs to know it. You simply know everything about you elevates, and the core, you trust it. I don't do anything unless the core tells me to. And if the core tells me not to, I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, totally.
Because if I do, going to
That's
pay
all
the
because
price.
someone sacrificed. Totally. But I think it's that emotional authority, right?
Mm,
It's like that inner authority that even overrides the conscious mind.
yes.
That is the magic. Like that,
Mm,
people say there's no magic in life today. And I'm like, yeah, there is. Like when you know that you know and you feel it in
hmm
every part of your body and it overrides that cognitive fear, it's just like that's an incredible place to lead from. And that's what I mean by conscious leadership. I
mm,
think so many times as women, we've been trained to override that instinct. And I don't think it's served us very well. Or maybe actually, I'll take that back and maybe say, maybe up until this point it has, because
yeah.
it's kept us safe, on some level. And maybe like now I'm trying to say the time is now for such a time as this, as
Yes.
Esther speaks in the Bible. I just absolutely love that Bible verse, whatever that means to anybody, for such a time as this, as it is a time for women to rise in that level of consciousness, in that level of embodiment, and releasing the shackles of all the things that have held us back, breaking those generational patterns, not only for ourselves, but the future generation who is walking and following in our footsteps.
Amen, sister. Um, we're under the title today of Ignite Your Heart and Soul because that's what it's about. But I'm also going to put it under the genre of the sisterhood of common sense love and all
Mm,
the men that love and support them. Because right now, women do need to rise. Women do need to step. It isn't about power, it's about empowerment. It
yes.
isn't about me over everyone else. It's about us coming together, being that orchestra, playing beautifully, harmoniously together, transcending the music that it lifts up the souls and spirits up everywhere. It's also about bringing the feminism out in the men, which I don't mean gay or transgender folks, that's each to their own, but there's men for so long have had to live on this male testosterone, tough things. And if we bring the femininity and that consciousness and that love and that empathy and that feeling out in them, they will have more balance in their lives,
Oh my
right?
gosh. Yeah, I have a perfect story for this actually. So one of my clients, I've really been working her, sorry, she's like in the banking industry. And so it's been really hard for her, right? It's just like she has this beautiful, strong, nurturing, feminine energy and just loves like inclusivity and all of it, but like battling against, right, those patriarchal
Mm,
norms and such. And so she just moved to a new city, is loving her job, and so we've been working a lot with her, honoring that femininity, honoring that voice, bringing her gifts to this, patriarchal scene.
yeah.
And it was so beautiful because she'd had one of her year-end whatever interviews or recommendations, and so it was kind of this feedback back and forth. And she'd said to him, I just appreciate the way that you lead and your vulnerability with me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you brought that even to more space, more people would be, respectful and softened. And he was just like, so she just mirrored that aspect of himself and gave him that gift to step into that capacity that is his, right? Because I mean, men have had the same conditioning,
Yes,
same, beliefs, all of that, but it's just like, but I really believe this when we're saying about women to rise, that it is time for us to lead the way in that.
absolutely. Absolutely. A quick little story. Somebody I interviewed yesterday, Lacey Fewer, who was in finance, for 30 years, working predominantly with men.
Yes.
And she had been given a sack of letters from two cousins in Ireland, because she's Irish, to a cousin that followed a dream and went to New York and was institutionalized because she couldn't have children. And she was an outspoken woman, right? And the
Mhm.
letters that went back and forth. And she kind of sat with this for about 30 years. I don't know what to do with it. And then one day, I really would love to write a book on this, but I've got my job and this and that. And they said one night she woke up and there was Bridget, the cousin that had moved to America, and it was just do it. And she literally quit her job,
Wow.
high level job,
Yeah.
and spent the next 3 years just writing this book. And I wish more of this. When you talk about the woman recognizing that in the man, it's almost giving him permission to, it's okay. It's
Totally.
okay for you to be like this. We appreciate it. And if you don't tell people what we appreciate, how are they going to continue to do it?
Yeah, 1000%. And how do you lead the way consciously without articulating and pointing out? those truths, those behaviors, those essences that
Mhm.
lead us all to more unity.
Yes, we
So,
have to listen to our inner voice. It's the soul, heart, spirit connection. It
yeah,
is the wisdom. It's
yeah,
got your back. You're never alone. It's your sanctuary. It's
absolutely.
your safe place, and it will always guide you forward.
Yeah,
And the moment we switch off the chatter from the outside, oh, you should be, you've got to be, nobody's going to like you unless, switch
yeah,
that all off because we know. Come on, step back and look. Who has that served?
yeah,
Who has benefited from this?
absolutely.
Nobody. Everybody's end up screwed up because they've denied who they are.
Yeah. And I think I'd love to speak to that as well, because I think a lot of times there's this narrative that we're saying, just listen, just do it, just follow
Yes.
it. You know what I mean? And that is great. But what I know to be true as a nurse and working, with our physiology and our nervous systems is that we have to heal that nervous system in
Yes.
order to just do that, because it will override the safety, will override that instinct until we really can do that deeper work of the expansion and contraction, and allowing our nervous system to hold the truth of what we know. Because for so long, that's why I'm so passionate about, like,
Mm.
okay, let's see where, like, belief creates everything. So what is
Yeah.
the belief that is holding us in that contraction? And I think so many of us walk around and think, well, I'm living consciously, like I'm living in my
Mm.
personal integrity, but we're operating from that conscious mind, right? And so we haven't done that deeper work into that subconscious mind, and what are the beliefs, because it will win every single time. And it's just like, that is where I allowed myself to even have grace for myself, because it's like, I think self-abandonment at one point in my life was like my heroic sport. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Because it's like my conditioning was like, I knew who I was, exactly who I was supposed to be. And that's how I had to show up in order to be loved and survive in
Hmm.
my environment.
That's how I was accepted in life, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I look at the times where I knew what was right, but I made the choice of survival over. So
Mm.
that's,
Thrival.
yeah, and so that's the deeper work that I love people to get to, because with all my clients, I can honestly help them heal and answer the question, how did my life get this way? And when
And
you,
I've been through this journey in life where I was born a spiritual being, right?
yes,
I was a seer. I lived in that essence. That's where I was at home. I was at truth. I found it very hard to fit into the human realm
mm,
because I just somehow was, why can't you see what I see? Why can't you feel what I feel? And the people would come to me for the advice, etc., that they needed, and then gone. And
yeah,
it's like, well, how do I fit in? So then I became the people pleaser, and bend yourself into a pretzel to please them, only
yes,
just really to be kicked to the curb, right? Because I was not representing myself. And then, yes, things like depression, anxiety,
mm,
feeling worthless,
mm,
really not wanting to live anymore. And then
mm,
you just kind of the old cosmic two by four came along and said, but Sarah, you know who you are. You
totally.
know what you're here to do. Why are you not honoring that path? And
I
that
love,
actually, that redirect again came to me at 57 when I started podcasting, right?
amazing, Sarah, amazing. Yeah,
You're listening to the stories and you can't help but apply it to yourself.
love it. And I think that's the thing too. It's like we are surrounded by this incredible spiritual realm. Like,
Hmm.
whether we want to believe it or not, I mean, this is what I love now, that science is actually proving this. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Oh,
Something that
yes.
I feel like I've known all along. Like, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Pardon me. And so it's just like recognizing, tapping into that presence, knowing it is within us, it is around us, and just feeling into that every day. And I would just say to the listeners, like, just start trusting. Like,
Yeah.
what are just even the little nudges, those little things that surpasses the mind once again, but
Yeah.
you just get that little, I call it a divine nudge, and
Hmm.
just start building that trust within yourself so that you can honor that deeper knowing that deeper calling on your
Mm.
heart, that deeper purpose that each one of us are being called into,
Yes,
right? And
yes,
it's like
yes.
even all of that, I call it the divine discontent. And when you're just feeling like, I know there's more for me, it's like, yes, there is then. Like, follow the breadcrumbs, like,
Yeah.
take this step, and then the next step will show up. And so that's
It's
how
take a breath, isn't it?
it is.
Take a breath. You know, we a lot of the time, why do people not do it? A, conditioning, but also fear. And so, you know, I've got an approach on common sense fear. And the common sense fear is, you know, don't walk in front of a bus, don't put your hand in the fire. That's normal, right? To do that isn't going to be very good. You know what's going to happen to you. Why can we not take common sense fear, which is looking out for us, and look at the unknown in wonderment, in
Mm,
exploration? Common sense fear will keep us safe, but
yeah,
that wonderment, what I wonder what else? I wonder
yeah,
what's behind this door. I wonder if I just tried this, what would happen? And go out in a sense of exploration because as human beings, we are exploring
absolutely. Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Well, and I love how you said that because I think that if people just get into the like, I wonder if, and
Yeah,
get themselves in that energetic energy, that
yes.
that'll help soften some of the fear,
Mm,
right? So that's just really working with our own authority once again and really anchoring in and saying, hey, what is it that I want? What is coming up for me? And getting into the feelings, because we know that the feelings
mm,
generate the electricity. And if we're going to deeper
yes.
in science, that's the communication with the quantum field. And so, yeah, and then doors will open. And that's where I believe once we really learn how to master some of these things within, doors can open where there have never been doors.
And just like I didn't know I needed this, you
Absolutely.
know, and you know, going back to the there's the what if, and I wonder if,
I wonder if,
right? You know, everything has tonage and rhythm. And
yeah.
I think if you decide to feed the rhythmic tone that constantly wants to be in flow,
Mm,
right? Rather than the, you know, kind of a note that stays there.
totally. Yes.
You know,
Yes.
it is
Finding the
get into the
harmony.
rhythm of life, please,
Yeah,
you know? That's
totally.
where it's at because it's, as you said, doors open, windows open, people you never knew you needed come into your life.
Hmm.
Every single thing that's ever happened to me has happened when it's meant to happen to me for whatever reason. I know I could look back and go, but you know, why did you give me that?
Yeah.
And then years down the road, I'll look at it and go, okay,
Yeah.
I get it. So
Yeah.
even the cosmic two by fours have a reason. They're there to stop you
Absolutely.
in your track because you're going down the wrong track
Yeah.
and for you out of those ashes to rise as a beautiful phoenix in the right direction.
Totally. And in the book I'm writing right now, I have a whole chapter on pain and purpose. And so I
Mm,
really believe that all of the pain, or it's just an indicator where we are out of
yeah,
divine alignment
yeah,
with ourselves.
yeah.
And so when we really have the mindset and the internal game,
Mm,
ability to internally navigate what is showing up for me and how do I get to the other side? How do I align to the truth that wants to be revealed? Because that's really isn't that what healing is just the revealing of truth. And so,
the
yeah, it's
cosmic truth, the
absolutely,
divine truth, not our intellect truth, our
absolutely,
soul truth.
absolutely our soul truth,
Mm,
1000%. Yes. And getting into alignment from that place. And then, yeah, it's just like the dots kind of get connected and it just comes out from this heart space. And then you attract those people, those places, those things that are meant to help you move forward as well. So it's just, we are very, I think people think life happens to me, but that's where it's just
mm,
like, no, the consciousness to know that we're the creators of our lives and that we consciously can interact by our own energetics, our own thoughts. Like, and it's even deeper than the thoughts. And that's, it's the belief. It's like, what is the belief? The belief is the identity. And whatever we identify, I mean, that is what's going to show up.
belief from the inside out, not the outside in, right? You know, it's
1,000%.
how many people are going down a rant and rage world
Oh yeah.
because they're following a belief of again expectation or dictation
Yep.
rather than listening to the belief within their heart and soul that it's almost people are chasing the buffet when
Yeah.
there's a perfectly good dish in front of you.
Totally. Yeah. And I think too, like even with the belief, it's like there's beliefs out there, but like I'm even talking deeper about what do you believe about you?
Mm,
So many of us can show up in this persona, but underneath there's this stirring pot of disbelief, unbelief about self, right? And we're posturing in a way that isn't, we're posturing. And it's, you know
yeah.
what I mean? Instead of really clearing out that deeper beliefs that no longer serve us, that really are the outpicturing of what we're seeing in our lives, is from those deeper beliefs and hidden in the subconscious mind often, right? I mean, for me, I don't walk around with the belief that my voice doesn't matter. Anybody that knows me would think, wow, Renae says what she needs to say. She advocate, you know, but I mean, but my book that's coming out later this year, it's like I had to heal the belief back from years ago that my voice didn't matter
Yeah.
because I've had this book inside me for 20 years. It's like,
Uh-huh.
why couldn't you write it, Renae? Like, it's almost like I could beat myself up, but it's like
Yes.
until I understood what was at play, because I used to think I'm procrastinating. What's wrong with me? I said I'm going to do this. Do you know what I mean? But it's like I had to get my own self out of the way. I had to go deep into that belief to go, what is the belief that is really holding me back? And gosh, like it feels so good to clear that.
Yes.
Do that.
And but also, what was that belief measured against? Somebody else's expectation, society's expectation,
Well,
eh,
totally. And what
right?
I made things mean in my own
Mm,
mind and imprinted into my subconscious. So as a child or whatever, little experiences, it's like, oh, it's better just to be quiet. Like, oh,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Even like, right, generational wounds as women. It's like, okay, well, let's just be polite. Let's just smile and look pretty, right? Instead of really saying that truth that is like
Yeah.
burned inside of you, right? It's part of the cultural conditioning of the feminine at times as well. So it's just like
Mm.
really breaking those barriers so that we can live with purpose. We can live from the heart. I can say what I need to say in this book, and people can take it whatever way they want because I'm living from that place and the world can deal with it.
I 100% agree with you. You know, my brother is a professional author, and he was also taught literature at the master level. So, you know, he's very, very good at that. And so I'm non-academic. I have dyslexia, wouldn't know grammar for anything because I didn't finish school and I was a very sickly child. So school was always a challenge. Plus, I never understood, you know, I learned more from a conversation with a teacher than I did from turn to page, such and such. You know, I just didn't
Yeah,
relate that way. I
yeah.
found out I have ADD later in life, so you know, that makes sense. But it's um, I decided eventually to write my own book. And I bravadly got my brother to do the editing of it. And I was expecting him to slice and dice it. And instead he goes, but gosh, the overcoming theme here is so much loneliness.
Mm,
And he picked that, and I just wrote it. I took 3 weeks where I shut everything off and I let my fingers do the writing
wow.
and then kind of looked at it afterwards. And it wasn't, you know, people say, oh, I can't wait to hear all about your pain and suffering. I said, no, it's not that kind of book. It's the observation of what I've been through from where I am now. Because
Beautiful.
I'm where I am now is because of what I went through, right?
Absolutely.
But now, you know, as of today, I'm in my fourth anthology book.
It's
And
amazing.
because, yes, bless it, ChatGPT takes what I'm trying to say, will I write like Yoda, and puts it in the right format for me. So it's my editor. And so I've got something to say. I just was always held back believing that because I, you know, wasn't professional, I had these obstacles, I couldn't get it across.
Right.
And, you know, now the tools are there. So there's always something there. If you feel, you know, I have a struggle in doing that. Okay, well, there's so many things out there that can assist you in that. Don't let that be your argument. Don't let that stop you.
And right, and I'd speak to that as well because it's like when you have that deeper knowing, it's like that's the brain's job anyways. It's going to do that. So let's
Yes,
recognize what's at play. The brain's going to say, "Well, no, you can't do that." And what about this? And what about that? And you're just going to say, "Yes, and I'll find a solution." Right?
exactly.
That's once again like knowing how to anchor into sovereignty, how to anchor into your own authority, to, you know, I call it suiting up for the battle, like battle those, you know, external things that are just going to always be there. Like we're not going to get our brain to turn that off. It's always
No,
be
no.
there. But just how do we suit up for it, right? It's just
Yeah.
recognizing.
I think it's also getting over the fact, am I worthy of it? Or even
Oh,
trying or
that's most
opening the door. And it's like, yes, you are. When you come from the heart and soul, your worthiness is there. Just connect to your heart and soul. Your
yeah,
spirit will guide you. And,
yeah.
this whole thing, I did a show recently, was really kind of blew my mind. But this guy has spent years putting this together. And it's from the ages of 3 to 6, the words that you form, 7 words that you form in that time, dictate to you for the rest of your life. And when he did the words on me, and it was like, oh, appease, people pleaser, rescuer. And
Yeah,
it's like, okay, those words are all still with me because they're ingrained at that time, but I could change the meaning.
absolutely.
So
Bam.
instead of me going out rescuing somebody, what I
Yeah,
do is I give you a platform here in Self Discovery Window podcast, where you can actually go and find the people with the skills and the tools like yourself
yeah,
that can assist people in rescuing themselves,
yeah.
right?
Love it. Yeah, beautiful, Sarah. Absolutely. I love that.
So
Yeah,
we can, it doesn't matter what, well, I've always been like this. Well, you don't have to always be like this. You
oh,
can change your narrative.
1000%. And that's just an excuse when people are like, that's
Yeah.
just who I am. I mean, that's just, I mean,
It's
that's,
also sometimes a little laziness.
I was just going to say it's the easy way out. The
Yeah.
easy way out, right? And so, but I think like I love the point that you made. Like, I mean, in my work, I call it commands or limiting beliefs or whatever.
Mm.
It's like that they are always going to be there.
Yes.
But this is the restoration of choice.
Yeah.
You get to say, okay, yes, I used to believe that, and now I'm choosing to believe
Yes. Oh,
that.
I
And
love that.
yeah, it
Yeah,
just,
choice is so big. We can
yeah,
choose to be happy or miserable. What do we
yeah,
feed? Right? What we
absolutely,
water will grow. If you've got
totally,
weeds in your garden, that's because you let them grow, right? So
yeah.
if you want roses, then plant the roses and water
Yeah.
them, nurture them. So
Totally. And that's part of my work too that I love though is like I love that that guy helped you see what they were because we
yes.
must know what they are so
Yeah.
that we can conquer them, right? Because
Yes.
if it's we think 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, okay, a lot of those are just the same repetitive thoughts. So if we're not aware of what those, undercover thoughts are that are really creating the anxiety, creating, the way that we're feeling, then how can we conquer them? And so it's just like I always tell people in times of stress, what do you really say to yourself? So there's a cue and a clue for those who are listening.
Mm.
It's like when you're really under stress, what are you saying? Like, well, I'm not good enough, or I never get it right, or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, like that is where the work needs to be done because that is showing the programming.
And, as I said before, I had the trouble between being the soul and the human. And when I actually in 2001 did True Colors, the
Oh,
Myers and Briggs personality thing, I came to understand what I was and also why my family never got me because they were that color, which was my color that was next door. It wasn't
mm,
even in my vocabulary. And my color was kind of further down on their chart.
yeah,
Right. So for them, I was just a la 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 dreamer.
right.
And they would kind of give me security and give me the next secure step and all of that type of thing. So totally different. And it became such a validation of who I am that, and
Mm,
since then I formed a program where I take the astrology, the numerology, the Chineseology, um, and the true colors, and also another program I have called the View of Life. And I do the correlation of the strengths and the
oh,
weaknesses.
beautiful.
And that is your human condition. And I
Mhm.
think what people need to do, they need to come to someone like you who can say, look, the observation is this A, B, C, D. This is how you're thinking. This is how you're feeling. This is your conditioning. Because until someone tells you what you're doing,
Absolutely.
or that this is predominant, we don't know it. We're carrying it around all the time.
Yes, 1000%.
When
We're
we
just
identify
unconscious
with that, we
thought.
can do something about it.
Right, that's it. Yes,
Yeah.
I get so passionate about that. It's like Carl Jung says, until you bring the unconscious conscious, you will call it
Mm,
fate. Right. And so that's what I'm trying to say. Exactly. It's just like, and part of my work is actually, I'm not telling them, I'm guiding them to see it for themselves.
exactly. You're
Because
the mirror.
yeah,
You're the
because
mirror.
only, yeah, only if we can see it for ourselves are we're going to be like, oh,
Right.
right. And that is the moment of the miracle when you can see what you
Yes.
actually created in mind and then you can uncreate it. And that is so freaking powerful.
It is. And,
Yeah.
that self-identity, because I think we really have to understand we are a beautiful spirit having a human journey. But the humans, in my book, in my belief, we are so behind on our evolution.
Mm,
We were so meant to have risen up to this higher elevation of energy, of
mm,
love, of enlightenment, and we're so behind. And of course, what we're seeing right now in the world, backwards, and
yeah,
that backwards is coming from people that are desperately insecure in themselves.
yeah,
And it doesn't matter if you handed them the universe, it still wouldn't be enough because they're empty on the inside.
correct.
We're not responsible for their emptiness, they are. Right. And if you tell them they're empty, no, 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 I'm the greatest, I'm this, I'm that, they're not going to acknowledge it. But one of the things I'm a firm advocate for, we are responsible for ourselves. Not, what's happened to us. What we do with it is up to us. Our choices, as you pointed out, of what I'm going to do to heal, to become, to rise, is up to us. And we need to then seek people in synergy, people that can help us on that journey of life. That's the accountability of being a human.
1000%. I love this. This is exactly it. I think it is 1000% our responsibility to come here, clear those epigenetic tags,
Yes.
from our own familial lines, to do the work, to be the change makers, to create that ripple effect for the next generation, and
Yeah.
to do that healing. And people are like, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? Well, yes, there's purpose out there too, but really when it boils down, your purpose is you.
Yes.
Your purpose is
Because then you bring your essence,
that's
you
it.
bring your energy, you bring
Yes,
your beautiful gift out to the world. So you've got to be your purpose so that you can let the cup runneth over.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I think too, we get so lost in the collective, like,
Yeah.
well, look at out there, and what can we do? What we can do? It starts with each one of us individually. It's like, what can I do individually within myself to get my energetics, to get my, spiritual being in alignment with the highest
Yeah.
aspect of self. And then that, like we started our conversation with energy, and then
Mm.
the ripple effect of that
Yeah.
energetic vibration will automatically lift the way for others. I mean, just think
So
about
yeah, it's a beautiful wave, right?
yeah, it is. So we think about it when you're in well, like you and I that met, right? It's like
Hmm.
there was a synergy, there was a connection, there was
Yeah.
a spiritual recognition,
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
And I love that. And I think too, that's why it's so important for each one of us to do that work so that we are in touch with that, so that we can lead the way. And even if other people don't understand it, like the unconditional love, the essence of peace or whatever, all that inner work that we have done. Because whenever we're bringing judgment to a
Yeah.
situation, we haven't done our work. Like one
Yeah.
finger pointing out at them, one finger pointing back at me, all
Yeah.
of that, right? And
Hmm.
so it's just like, what can we do? Like how do we want to show up so that we can be part of this collective healing? And that is kind of my invitation and my call, and especially to women, because I'm like, it's time. It's really
Yes.
time to break these patterns and to really start listening. And we know as women too, like even, I mean, as a nurse, like our physiology, our
Mm.
biology, our ability, like we have way more mirror neurons than men. So what
Yeah.
that means is like to pick up on empathy, to see all the things like there's our brain development, and we could do a whole thing about it, but we're wired for this deep intuition, this deep feminine wisdom. And
We're wired for love.
yes, we are. And I think
We're
that's the
loving
thing.
beings.
Yes, and if we can't love ourselves and
Yeah.
clear it, we're not going to be able to bring it forward. And I think too, it's been kind of this lovely idea of the women supporting women, but I still feel like we're not there yet. We're learning how to do it. And I think the only
Yeah.
way we can get there is when each of us do our individual work and we're not threatened by another person's gift and another
Mm.
person's light. And we just see their light as an example of who we're capable of being instead of attacking it. So it's
Exactly.
there is work to be done.
Yeah, and I draw the analogy that each one of us is on a journey, a self-discovery of what our instrument is,
Mm,
and then learn how to play that instrument to the best of our ability. Then
yeah,
find the orchestra that you have a synergy with, where you can play
absolutely.
each one of you in your own strength harmoniously together to
Yeah,
transcend and ascend. And I think it's not every orchestra is going to be your vibe. But
that's
when you
okay.
know what your vibe is, the vibe will be, reached out to you and you will find it. And I think that's the thing, is that here under this umbrella with 300 shows, 3,700 shows,
Amazing.
there are different notes here, there are different instruments here, but the passion behind helping people and
Mm,
wanting to ignite those possibilities in people for them to become the beautiful essence of who they are,
absolutely.
is the different instrument. And
Yeah,
do they all form the same orchestra? No, there are compartments of orchestras within this umbrella,
totally.
right? And that's the thing, is there is no one size fits all. There is no one person that's going to do it all. You could get them to look at their beliefs and to reconnect with them in the inside, but then maybe they need somebody else that can take them on to that higher elevation, because each one of us has our gift to share. And that doesn't mean, well, it's only mine or nobody else's. No, what you want to do is see them be able to walk forward in life and then be excited to open and explore other opportunities from other people.
Yeah, it's all a journey, right? I mean,
Yes.
like, yeah, I mean, we all meet people at certain levels, and it's
Yeah.
just, what is, who's next? What's next? Like,
Yes.
it's just the
It's
last.
been engaged. I think that's something that's happened. We can blame social media, we can blame a lot of things. And yes, but, somewhere along the line, the outside life became the tinsel town,
Yeah,
right? And we lost that connection with self and connection with each other.
yeah.
And, it's interesting because um, my son-in-law is not on social media. My daughter is only a little bit. My other daughter, a little bit. Daughter-in-law, a little bit. But all of that is kind of based around their work or sharing joyful things. It's always positive affirmations. My son, not at all. Couldn't be interested at
Mhm,
all, right?
mhm,
And they're into connections, into people, making time for people,
mm.
because they're not interested in this outside life of you've got to be look like this, you've got to do that, you've got to do that, because they're too busy
Living
being who they are, right?
their
Yeah.
life.
And thank God, right? So, and I think this is, kind of a societal thing where we've put these expectations on people, and all we do is make them feel less than.
Yeah.
All we do is disconnect them from their heart and soul and spirit, right? And all we do is have them never feel fortified or enough, no
Mhm,
matter what they do. And so society is broken. It's
mhm.
very, very broken. So instead of kind of it's broken, well, what can you do to heal yourself and bring out something different collectively with your brothers and sisters that is
Totally.
more illuminating,
Yeah,
more inviting? I believe that inspiration begets invitation. And when
absolutely.
you're inspired by someone, you're invited to be a part of it.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I love that. And I think too, I just wanted to say, and it's never too late. That's
Mm-mm.
the thing. Like I
No.
worked with a lady that was 61 years old and went and did her work. And now it's like she quit her job. She's living her dream.
Yeah.
She created her own business. Like she's paved the way. Like it's so exciting, it's
It's never too late, because I started this at 57. Um, Last week was my 13th year of podcasting. June will be my 12th year of my own network. I'm 70 now, and I've made a contract with the universe. I'll go until 90 as long as I can still hear, see, and speak. Then we'll review the contract,
awesome,
right?
awesome. That's
And the
good.
thing is, it's when you're doing something that's so meaningful to you, it's not work.
Absolutely.
Yes, you need the e-commerce because that's the human roof over the head and food in the stomach, right? So that is something that is just providing a tool to sustain you, for you to do the true e-commerce, which is, the currency is enrichment and abundance.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I just wanted to go back to something you said, when we look at the word inspiration, we really break it down, it's like in spirit,
Yes,
right? And so
yes,
when we're deeply connected within and
yeah,
we know how to tap in, the inspiration will be there. But
yeah.
I think it's carving out that time for self, connecting to self, not being so busied by life, right? Taking that time to listen to what I said, the small nudges, or,
Mhm,
quieting in the morning and going, what is it my highest and best good for all today? Or, you know what I mean? Just really tapping in deeper to a deeper place within. It's
mm.
it's peace.
Yes.
You know, it's
Ah, it's like a deep breath.
yeah, and that's I think you know when you're living from your
Yeah.
heart and soul, you don't have that anxiety, you don't have that angst. It's just this peaceful knowing of walking through life in a more powerful, graceful way.
Yeah.
And I think the other piece to it is I think we're looking like, oh, step into your power, step into your power. It's like I'm actually super tired of that saying. I don't believe we need to step into anything. I think we are the power. And I think it's
Ignite. This is what this is. Ignite your heart and soul, right? It's about
yeah,
ignition.
exactly. Yeah, so it's like own it,
Yes, it's
right?
there all around
It's
us.
there. We are the ones that separate ourselves from it.
Yes. Yeah. There's no stepping into anything. It's just
So,
become.
yeah,
Become what you are from the inside out.
yeah,
Ignite it. It's been dormant because you've spent so much time and emphasis on this
exactly.
facade. So
That's it.
now ignite your heart and soul and spirit because it's there to guide you. It's
Absolutely.
there to be your best friend, right?
Yes.
Your confidant, your
Yeah.
inspirer, everything. It's all there.
And yeah, and that's what I tell my clients too. It's like, how do I do there? It's like, well, be your own BFF.
Yes. Yes.
How it starts. It's like we as women are so good at having everyone else's back, doing everything, for them, listening to everyone else. Well, what if we also gave that to ourselves? Wouldn't
That
that
is
be
key.
a
That
great
is key.
gift to ourselves and to others? And what flows over from there is like the cream on top, not just giving and giving and giving. Because, like, I know the difference when a woman is giving to me from that cream on top, and that feels very special, or when they're just doing it like, and I almost want to say, it's okay.
Robotically giving it
Yeah,
rather than
it's
from
like,
the heart. Yeah.
it doesn't feel as good. Like I can feel the difference, you know? And so it's just like creating that space within ourselves to be able to really give from that spiritual cup full within ourselves to really bless those in our lives.
My daughter's just broken up with her boyfriend of 4 years, and she's 42, he's I think 44, and he just even at that age became so complacent and old mannish. And
Mm-hmm.
she is a pure butterfly. She is a spirit
Mm,
that everybody wants to be around, right? And never married, never had children. She's that, kind of that butterfly, that essence everywhere she goes. And
mm.
it's like, I've kind of said to her, please, no more relationships right now until you have a relationship with self.
Oh
And
yeah.
I recognize in her, we don't look alike because she's half Chinese, but
Mhm.
wherever we go, people automatically know we're mother and daughter because they say you've got the same spirit.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Yeah.
I haven't met her, but I'm like, I bet you that's why. Yeah.
Yeah. And the problem is we were both people pleasers and givers. We want to nurture and give to everyone else, but we give to people who don't know how to give back. And there's a beautiful graphic I found, and it's two faces, the male and female coming out, and then a merged face of us. And if you want to have a successful relationship with a loved one, with a child, with friends, first and foremost, you've each got to be strong in your own identity and your own essence.
Totally.
You, him, us,
Absolutely.
right? Or you, them, us. The us is when you bring the two together and what that creates. But
Yeah,
that can only be as strong as the two strong essences that come together.
totally.
It's
And
not,
that's part of my work.
define me. No, it complements you.
Right. And that's why in my work, and that's why even with my teen girls, it's like, I mean, they're wired to look outside themselves, right?
Yes,
So it's just like, yes, that's part of development. That's part of like, oh, I like this, I don't like that. But my fundamental belief in all of my work, whether it's with my teens or with my women, is that the most important relationship that you have is with yourself.
yeah,
And so when you can develop that relationship, because we talk, that's the ripple effect as well as what you will draw into your life, of what you will tolerate, of what, you know what I mean? So it's just like
yes.
that is the most important relationship you will ever have.
I want to talk about the big word time. Right
Okay.
now, I've had criticism for people. Well, why aren't your podcasts only 15, 20 minutes? And I said, because there you're only scratching the surface.
Yeah.
I'm going deep down to the core, and that takes time for us to get there. If
Hmm.
you haven't got the time or the patience or attention to listen, you're
Yeah.
the one
Yeah.
missing out, right? Because when we give ourselves time, there's that graphic with somebody legs crossed, hurry up meditation, I haven't got all day. Right? You've got to know that you've got to invest time and effort into you. And that means listening to podcasts or TED Talks or music or something that lifts your soul, that helps you connect. You've
Yeah.
been disconnected for so long. This isn't going to happen like that. You've got to be willing to put the work in, to be present in your own healing, to participate in your own healing, and give it the time that is needed.
Yes.
Listen, learn, apply. That's my motto with these shows. And that's very much the kind of work you do. They have to come to you ready to
Yes.
listen, to
Yes.
learn, and to apply, and give it the time it needs in
Yes.
order to unravel and
Yes.
reconnect.
Absolutely. Bam, you nailed it. And I think the other part of that too is just like as women, we've invested our resources, invested our time and energy in so many people. But
Yes,
the greatest investment we can ever make is within ourselves and our own consciousness.
absolutely.
Yeah, and when we really take the time, like that is what is so exciting about the people I work with. It's like when they really take that time, I mean, their life changes because
Yeah,
they changed on the inside. So it's
yeah.
that's where we're back to like it's all an inside game. And once you
Mm,
know how to n- like hone that inside game, navigate that, it's like anything is possible. It really is because you've really learned how that self mastery. And it's not just like spiritually bypassing things. Like you have to have time to sit with self, cultivate this relationship with self, to have
yes.
the time to invest, spend the time to get where you really want. And I mean, as a palliative nurse, you want to talk about time?
Mm,
Like, oh, I've been at the deathbed of,
yeah,
people, and they just, the things they've said, it's not like, oh, I wish I'd, you know, bought this or bought that. They're like, oh, I wish I'd had more time to really be into my gifts or really live what I wanted to do or wish that I had done this. And so it's
yeah.
just like, as a nurse, I've been there at the beginning of life of baby
Mm,
heartbeats to the end of life at
mm,
the final heartbeats. And so for me, time and doing working in the profession as well just gave me like a deeper insight into the preciousness of time. And we never know. And so back to saying the time is now, well, the time is now because we don't never know how much time we have.
And we can plant seeds for the future, for tomorrow.
Well,
But
yeah,
if we don't water and nurture them today, they're not going to grow tomorrow. And so many people live either in yesterday or tomorrow and not in today. And
totally.
today is all you've got. So
Yeah,
by being present and also, another word, being still,
oh yeah.
still. A
Mm,
lot of people don't know how to be there. They suddenly get ants in their pants.
yeah. But that's the cue and the clue that they need work. If they
Yes.
can't be still, then that's the cue and the clue that you really need to do the work. Because if you can't be still with self, be still and know, then that is a huge indicator that there is something going on. And it's just, yeah, it's calling you to be still.
And another one, when you kind of know you're getting there, is when you love to spend time with just yourself.
Oh yes. Which I totally do.
Yes, me too. It's
Yeah,
I even take myself out for dinner and go and do things on my own because
yeah.
I like to observe. But I'm quite happy to have time just to myself. It's my time to digest the day, to kind of look at life. I've got a monkey puzzle tree out here. I love looking at the tree, the hummingbirds coming to feed. It's
Oh,
taking time for those little small pleasures that are
yes,
so big for your heart. And
totally.
if we're not giving it time, if we're not being still, if we're not being present, right? If we're not engaged, it ain't gonna happen.
Totally. Yeah, and I think it's important. Like, I mean, I think my daughters are sometimes they're like, "Mom, like, but I love to be alone. Like, I
Mm,
love my own company. Like,
yes.
and as much
You
as
worked hard to get there, so why shouldn't you love it, right?
like I really enjoy that time, and I think it's so important for each one of us. That goes back to the principle of being your own best friend. It's like, why wouldn't we enjoy spending time with ourselves? We
Exactly.
are our own best friend. If, and it's, yeah, and I mean, there's just so much deeper work into that too. It's like the little girls within us. Like, let's do it for them. Let's re-nurture them.
Mm,
Let's reparent them. Let's tell her we've got her. I mean, I know I've had to do that. It's just,
mm.
you
You
know?
also become so much more selective of the people in your group. Now, I've interviewed a lot of people with autism, and the one thing I've learned about them is a lot of the time, yes, there's different degrees of it, um, but a lot of the time they're very creative and very focused on their creativity. Um, they need their own time for replenishment, right? But also they're very selective of the people they have around them. It
For sure.
has to be people that protects the nervous system, the vibe, right?
Yeah.
So they're very choosy. The lesson that we can learn from that is that you don't need a million likes, right?
No.
All you need is two or three good friends, right?
Yes.
Or be around family members that really care about you, that you really care about. Your work may take you outside there, but what's in your inner circle?
Oh, it's
All right.
everything.
And that's really important.
It is. It's everything. Absolutely, it is. Yeah, I love that. I really love that. And I'm very selective who
Hmm.
I spend my time with. I mean, my energy almost won't allow me not to because my body will even be like, oh, like, or I'll yawn, or you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
not trying to be rude or anything, but it's
I
just
know. Does that happen to you? That
like
happens to me too. I suddenly start yawning and I'm like, I know I'm not tired.
feeling drained, right?
Yes.
It's just because when you do the deeper work, it's not that I'm better than anybody else or you're better than, it's not about being better than anybody
No.
else. It's just being in that awareness of self as to what is nurturing and what feels good for you, right? In that reciprocity way. So yeah,
But it's having the soul intelligence, the
abs-
soul knowingness to know what's good for you.
absolutely.
You want to avoid the cosmic two by four. I always say the cosmic is giving you a nudge, nudge, wink, wink,
Yeah,
right? And if you don't pay attention, then comes the two by four. You'd like to avoid the two by four, although sometimes we
absolutely.
can't. It's meant to be. But let's
Yeah,
pay attention to the nudge, 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 wink, wink. And if something doesn't feel right, it is like, why doesn't it feel right?
yeah,
I'm going to take time to just sit in this because maybe it's just for today. But if the
yeah,
feeling is constant, then no, it's definitely time for change.
yeah. And what I know to be true about that as well is when we don't listen,
Mm,
it doesn't speak as much either, right?
hmm.
Yeah, it like it quiets it down. It's harder
Yeah,
to
well, you're not paying attention anyway, so why should I keep speaking to you?
absolutely, right? It's like go learn it the hard way then, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And
So
we really want to avoid the hard way, folks. The cosmic two before hurts, believe me.
yes,
So,
and believe me, there too. Yeah, I just think it is kind of, I call it our greatest superpower is to,
mm,
really be able to listen and follow those prompts, those instincts, even if it's just like, okay, go turn your curling iron off. Even if
yeah,
you're like, oh no, but I did turn it off. You know what I mean? It's just, in my opinion, it's just kind of where life's kind of testing you. It's like, are you going to,
yeah, yeah,
right? And the more you listen, the more you're given, right? So
exactly. Open channel.
yeah,
You've opened up the channel and now they download all the time for you. Really, it's beautiful.
yeah,
I think that where we're at in the world right now, and you work a lot with teens, which is wonderful. The Girls Academy, the Teen Girl Empowerment Academy. The adults, they've got to realize, and there's an awful lot of shoot they have to clear out, and there has to be that willingness to do that. But if you could capture the teen girls now, and let's face it, teens. In my book, Our Forgotten Children anthology that I put out last year, which is around the raising of our children and how we are forgetting them. Where we're forgetting them is we're conditioning them.
mhm,
We're not allowing the essence of their soul and their spirit to guide them.
yeah,
We're compartmentalizing them. We're controlling them. Everything is about you've got to fit into society and what it wants from you, rather than be the essence of who you are.
yeah,
And my chapter was on teens, and that when you see teens stabbing other people just to try and get a feeling, we've let them down,
yeah, for
right?
sure.
And it's if we can get hold of the teens and show them they are worthy, accountable,
Yep, for
responsible, but
sure.
worthy, and make better choices moving forward because they feel empowered within themselves, we're
Yeah,
going to have a better society down the road.
absolutely. And they're hungry for it.
Yes.
This one girl that I'm working with, like she will be on Broadway one day. Like she knows she has gifts. And she said to me, Renae, what I'm tired of all the adults in my life saying is that, oh, that's just normal teenage stuff. That's just normal. And she's like,
Yeah.
I want it to be normal. Like she wants to rise above, like
Yeah.
hungry for the skills, the tools, and like in my work with her and honoring her intuition, like, and I mean, for my private clients, they get Voxer support, social Voxer. And it's like, I'm so proud of myself today. I listened to this. This didn't feel right, you know? And it's just like, talk about, you know, as adults, we have to go back and do the rewiring. Well, let's
Yeah.
wire them for success, like create
Yes.
those neural pathways right from the start and get
Right.
them to honor their intuition, get them to recognize what people pleasing looks like, get them to recognize what a toxic relationship looks like, get them to connect deeper to self and to that instinctive place within themselves. I think our instincts as women have been injured, and
Mm,
so when they get to honor that place, and regardless of what anybody thinks of them, and to start dabbling and playing with that, that is everything. Like that is setting them up for success, changing the
absolutely.
trajectory of their lives. Like I say to my teens, I'm like, oh girls, we are saving you time, energy, and thousands of dollars when you're an adult to not
Yeah.
have to go back in therapy and heal from these things because your neural pathways won't allow it. You will know your nervous system. Your nervous system will speak to you. You'll know how to listen to that truth, right? And to that internal guidance system, and have the fortitude and the courage to believe in it, to trust it, and act on it. And it is such rewarding work.
Yeah. Beautiful. And also, the more confident they come and assured with their inner voice, yes, they're going to be on social media, but they're on it for a different reason.
Yeah.
It isn't about the likes and it isn't about the sensationalism. They're looking for rich content. They want to be a part of rich content because they're busy enriching themselves and they
Totally.
want to find that enrichment out there.
They
And
want to,
so, less they're going to buy into the tinsel town and
yeah,
more in looking for something that has substance.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's possible. I've spoken into thousands of girls' lives, and they've called me years later and said, thank you so much. Like, da 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 da, or like, I'm now going to teach my daughter this too.
Yes.
And she's old enough, I'm bringing her to you. And just like, you know what I mean? Like, all the things, like, it's
You're,
in,
you're setting them up with the right tools
yeah,
and to know that the tools are all within them,
totally.
all accessible.
For a
But
life.
it for a lifetime. But how many people even know they have the tools inside of them? They
Yeah.
don't know because
No,
it's not something we don't teach,
no, no.
right? As I said, I'm in this book at the present moment that's out is that I'm not selfish, I'm just not easily manipulated.
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
I can continue to chapter to that. And it is around our generation. I'm 70, my generation. If you did anything like self-care or took time for yourself, you were being selfish,
totally.
right? Who do you think you are? Suck it up like everybody else.
Yeah.
Now the dialogue is take time for yourself, please.
Yeah.
Be the enriched and abundant soul that you are meant to be, because that brings more fruit to the table, right? It's not being selfish, it's being one of self-love.
Absolutely. And you know, it's so interesting because when you get into the psyche of teen girls, which I think that many women today haven't healed the psyche of their teenage years, but anyways, it's like, so you get into the psyche of these,
Mine was wild.
yeah, and it's just like this do, proving, proving, proving. It's just like the girl I'm working, she's like, well, I just feel like if I slow down, I'm not productive, or I'm not, you know what I mean? And it's just like really teaching her, like, you know, she'll sometimes she'll leave me a message, be like, okay, no, like I did work so hard and I listened, and my inner voice said, you know, take the evening off, like have the,
Mm,
like, you know, because as hard as they work, it's like the stillness and the play or the quiet time is just as important to help, you know, leverage what they're doing. And so it's just so beautiful to see them connecting those dots and really creating that inner strength to listen and follow it. Like, oh, I just, it's even hard to put into words. It's so
mm.
beautiful to just witness the change that happens within them and where they can
It's
go.
the self-authority.
Totally.
When they become confident in self-authority, they can turn around to their parents and say, no, this is what I need today. And it's self-authority. I'm taking onus and control over me. I'll get back to the books or back to this, back to that when, but right now I need time and space for me. And that in turn is teaching the parents. They're like, oh gosh, it's working for her. It could work for me.
There's a
But
way.
how many times do you have the parents though, even though they've sent the kids for this, but they're still trying to push the outside agenda on their kids when the kids are trying to, push the inside agenda.
Oh yeah, lots for sure. I see that. But what I give the teen girl the ability is to also speak to their parents about that, not in a disrespectful way,
Mm,
but in a curious way. So an example was one of my teens didn't want to continue this class, but her parents wanted her to continue this class because it would look bad if she dropped out on her
mm,
thing. And so she just said, well, this is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling overwhelmed, like with this and this. I don't think I want to do it. Like everything in her body was saying no. And then her parents came back and they like, thank goodness they have pretty good communication skills. And they're like, well, no, but this is why we feel. And then instead of her getting mad and yelling that, well,
yeah.
no, I'm not like I've given her the skills to have
Yes.
her discussion and then
To
to
articulate.
yes, and to try
Right.
what she needs. So like I think that's where generations before us, it's just like any emotion or anything is just like bypass the emotion, but where she gave, mines the wisdom from her emotions and has learned that emotional intelligence piece. And so then she's able to talk to them and then a beautiful solution was worked out, even in her highest good because of the wisdom of her parents. And so it's beautiful, but it's
Yes.
we yeah, we just can't have them being like, no, this is what I know, or I think it's just coming and also being able to create those discussions with the people in their life with that level of self-authority, with that level of
Mm.
intelligence to be able to lead themselves. But to be a leader, one has to also meet someone where they're at so that you can allow yourself to be heard. And
I
so
mean, just imagine, for anything they do in life, right? That self-authority, these are my boundaries, this is my articulation,
yeah,
right? It's the kind of the negotiation of where I'm at and where you're at, and it just can only see them well through life. And it's again nothing we were taught,
no,
that maybe taught to the guys, not to the girls, right?
yeah,
To the girls, it's because I was non-academic, it was let's just hope she makes a good marriage. I didn't. Got three great kids out of it though.
yeah.
I was a wild one because I was so very much in my spirit in my teens.
Mm,
I was kind of free to kind of get out there and explore, and I was heightened of my spirituality. And then, I came to Canada and I met my ex-husband, and then he fell in love with that and then systematically tried to change me. And I was like, oh, I'm not enough then. I'm not enough then, right? Because it went back to that childhood that unless you're academic, you're not going to be. And it's like, I know that's ridiculous, right? I know that that's just somebody's idiotic judgment over me, but why did I let it dictate my path?
yeah, yeah, because it was a belief from when you were young,
Yes,
just built upon. And it's probably like that's what I think we don't realize. It's like we hold these beliefs inside of us, but then our external reality just actually mirrors.
yes.
People are like, why is the most beautiful girl with the drug dealer? You know what I mean? It's because people, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Well, to me, it's a no-brainer because there's a belief inside of her that believes that is what she
That's
deserves.
all she's worth.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like,
I mean, every single one of us is looking to be loved and have our love accepted. That's fundamentally what it's all about. Love, self-love, love of life, love of people around us, love of what we do. Love, love, love is the core. When you tap into that love for the right reason, and it's core love, and everything you do from that space of core love, you will have soul intelligence
love
that
it.
will
And when
guide
we
that
like,
love.
we are love.
Yes. Be
That's
the love you seek, be the peace you seek, right? Yeah.
our love.
Yes.
We came from love.
Yes.
Like
No
we're
judgment, right?
like, I mean, science is proving that. I mean, right? We're just divine fractals, you know, came here. We have that essence within us. We came from love. And so it's like, I was talking to my girlfriend yesterday, and it's just like, what if each one of us just woke up every day instead of getting caught in the mind of like, oh, this problem and how do I just be love? What if we
Yeah.
could be love? What do you
Come
think?
from a place of love. Just be the love. People, this is something as a people pleaser, you want everyone to like you, you want to please everyone. When you stop doing that, then the acceptance of it, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm somebody's strong cup of black coffee, and that's okay. I don't need to have the approval of everyone else. The only approval or permission I need is from within. Right. And when we stop looking at that, it's like a heavy coat you take off.
Totally.
Right. And it's like, why am I being carrying this around?
Yeah. What I think too, like when you understand, like everybody is just creating through their own beliefs. It's just like it can remove the judgment and it can just have
Yeah.
passion, and we can be love. We can just be like, oh, we all have this creative force and power within us, and we could just be like, isn't that interesting how they're using their creative power to create their life? And we can just bless them and send them love, and then just, do you know what I mean? And that's where we listen to that intuition as well. It's like, okay, well, who are we guided to help? Because not everyone is our assignment, but there are
Yes.
people that we are, being called to help or assist. And so then we follow that. But it's just, if we don't understand and we're not that essence of love for self, how can we truly ripple that out? How can we
Precisely. It's not honest. If we're not it, it's not honest when we give it.
manipulate it?
We're giving an expectation of love rather than the truth of our love,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
And that's the important thing. I always say that the best teachers are those that have gone through it. And of course, I know you're writing your book, which you will come back and share with us. I can't wait to hear that. And a lot of people who see where you're at today and what you're doing and your success don't realize that you had to go through your own manure to get there, right? And those are the best teachers that have gone through the manure, right? That you know what it's like. And so you've got tools and everything in place that that work. But because you identify, right, you know what to see and what to address. And that is key, isn't it?
It's everything. And I think when people are looking for that mentor or that person to work with them, and like with the chat GPT, with all the artificial intelligence, yes, people can market themselves well and do this or that, and
Yeah,
that's great. But it's like, really meet with the person, because nobody can take you
right.
anywhere deep that they have not gone within
I,
themselves.
I agree. And again, back to as we talked in the early part of the show of the synergy. This is why, these shows are very much kind of marketing for you as well as they are information for the person listening. Because if somebody's resonated with what you said, who feels your vibe, your connection, then they're going to be more in desire to reach out to you because they feel you know what I'm going through. I feel you. There's a connection here. And we can't help someone. We've got the tools, we can give you the tools, but we can't help you unless that frequency is on the same vibe, because it's through that same energy shared that goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
And it's all about presence. It's like
Mm,
someone holds you,
yeah,
and I can hold most anybody. Like,
yeah.
it's just being able to.
And if it's, yeah, I've had people in the past when I was counseling, fix me. And I go, no, all I can do is give you the tools to help yourself. I don't want that. Just tell me what to do. No, I can't do that. I can show you what to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And,
That's why I
ultimately, we're responsible.
ready. Like, that's why I
Yeah,
only work with people that are ready.
exactly. And, sometimes it might be just planting seeds.
For
They may
sure.
have a conversation, they're not ready right this time. And then at that point, they go, I'm ready. I'm ready now. And that's okay because, seeds planted will grow, especially if they've got some watering folks and a little nurturing. Sometimes knowing that it's there, subconsciously can become doing the journey you need to do to get there,
For
right?
sure.
So, it's not like, oh, I'm going to get fixed in one day. These people are 6 weeks and you're going to be there. No, it's, that you may have a program that's so many weeks to get started, but then there's the next level and the next level. And you've got to, I'm 70, I'm still working on myself. I'm
Right.
still discovering things about myself, like these 7 words I never knew governed me, right? And they made so much sense. And the more and more that you open up to things that kind of, I didn't realize,
Yeah.
because we're so caught in a pattern, we don't realize it's a pattern. And when
Truly.
somebody else can mirror that back to you, then that becomes a gift to you to actually acknowledge what's in your way.
Totally. And I think what makes me unique is that it's like, it's, you're given tools. It's not like,
Mm,
it's like that you can use for the rest of your life. Like, if
exactly.
honestly though, if you saw me and never saw anyone again, you might be just fine in that regard, but you might meet someone then that's going to be like, oh, I want to do this because I feel fulfilled. It's exciting, it's enriching, but it's not because you need someone to fix you or to help you. I don't see
No,
people fixed or being broken. I
right.
think that they just have not been given the tools and the skills to
Having connected,
yeah,
right?
to
They don't know how to plug in.
exactly. And
Yeah.
when you know how to plug in,
Yeah.
it's a game changer, and it's a whole different capacity to show up and to be in your own inner guidance, to know like, I mean, I just hired someone to help me with something, and it's just like I haven't hired someone for years, but I was just like, no, it's time. I'm guided on this
Yeah,
for what I need to do next. And so, yeah, then it becomes not like, oh, what do I need? What do I need? It's like, where am I being called?
right. Exactly. And, that is again back to giving yourself time to listen,
Mhm.
time to feel, time to truly absorb what's being presented. It's not an Amazon delivery. Um, you may have to do an awful lot of unraveling before all of a sudden the light bulb goes on. But you've got to participate. If you're not willing to participate on the journey, you're not going to get the results. Full stop.
Absolutely. And it's like even why with my team program, I mean, I used to think, oh, I can help anybody. I can just help them all. And I just like all the girls, all the things. And then I just got to this point where it's just like they didn't even appreciate it. And like
Right.
some of them just wanted to be the victim of their life and they
Yes.
wanted to blame, or it's like they didn't want to help themselves. And so I only want to work with girls and women and clients that are really ready to up level. They're really ready for that
Mm.
next level of empowerment. And really, I like the word empowerment, and I am an empowerment coach, but I think even deeper than that, as one of my women clients said, it's like what I needed was to know how to own my power,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
in power instead
Yes.
of an empowerment. So it's
Yeah.
just when you are in power of yourself, not like, oh, I'm powerful, oh,
Yeah.
power of others. It's like, but in your sovereign power,
Mm.
it's like,
You're
then,
your own generator.
yeah, right. So the women that
Yes.
are ready for that, the teen
Mm.
girls that are ready, that are driven, that are passionate, that just want skills for the rest of their life. I mean, let's go.
There's a book I read many years ago, about 20 years ago, that I talk about a lot called Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer
Oh,
Johnson
yes,
O'D.
yes, yes.
And the beauty of this, two men, two mice around abundance of cheese, and one day the cheese is gone, and it's the different reactions. And
Mm,
I think kind of people identifying with which one they are will actually show them whether they're willing to put in the work or blame somebody for it, or maybe a little bit slow to cotton on or off and going. And I think it's like, again, that self-identification of what's your human personality. And because, certain personality traits are much slower to step up and do the work because they've got to see everybody else doing it first. Or
yeah,
I've got to see the mechanics of it. Or
yeah.
like, how
Every,
fast can you get me there? And then
yeah,
the others, how far can my spirit be free? And it's knowing what your personality trait is to act, and knowing you can pick it up with the person. No, they're this particular personality, and there's nothing I can do until they realize they're hungry.
absolutely. That's
Right.
it. That's it.
I
That's
say you can take a horse to water, you can't make it drink, leave it there long enough and it's going to realize it's thirsty.
yeah, yeah. And like, yeah, that's exactly it. Because then you'll see real change, right?
Yes. Yeah, people have got to want to change. And that means you have to put in the work. Is it hard at first? Sometimes it is when you're facing those beliefs you've been carrying around for so long. But also, it's a relief
Yeah,
when
I
you
was
look at
actually,
those beliefs and say, I don't need to carry you anymore.
I actually think that's more of it because they're just
Mm,
like, I think the fear to get there, like, oh no, like what will be uncovered, what will be, it's like, well, something better than what you're living with.
yeah,
I mean, and it's just like, yeah, but I mean, it's even more than beliefs. It's like once you clear that out, then we can really get into like what are the dreams? What are the
yeah,
so it just builds. It's
yes,
like right, it's so magical. And I mean, I can speak for my clients, but also for myself. I mean, I'd worked as a nurse for like over 18 years, and for me to leave, those golden handcuffs and the security of
yeah,
the job to like really just like trust my next level and trust this work, it was big. And so yeah, but it's the belief. It's the beliefs that hold us there. But it's hard to just see them, right? It's like
yeah.
that's where I
It's the willingness to redirect. I call them chapters of your life. This chapter had come to an end, and but in your new chapter, you're taking all the wisdom and all the knowledge that you had and reapplying it in a different verbiage, really. And that's all it is. We don't want to have the same chapter over and over again. God,
oh,
how boring. I could, that's a humanoid, not a
yeah,
human being.
yeah,
We we want each chapter to be full and abundant, and some of them are going to be turbulent. But it is like, what have you learned from this last chapter that can benefit you in the next chapter?
Totally. I mean, nursing is all about healing, right?
Yes.
This is the deeper healing that I see that is required and that I'm so deeply passionate about. It's life changing, and I'm just so grateful that I did the deeper dives. Like, I'm a seeker of truth. I love going deep, deep, and
I'm sure if you did your 7 words, nurturer will come out.
absolutely, yes, definitely, yes,
And that's the thing, is that you can't deny the
no,
words, whether you like them or not. One of mine was appease, and oh no, I don't like it. You're definitely in the trunk,
yeah,
and it's and it's kind of recognizing what they are and re-empowering them. But you've been a nurturer all your life, and what you're doing now is you're taking that nurturing and using it to empower. Right.
absolutely.
And that's the thing, is how do you change the definition of that word, that it becomes something more beneficial to you than rather than against you?
Absolutely. And I think, with the P's, like, let's even look at that. Like, I think if we make good, right, bad, wrong, it's like,
Mm,
I'm sure the appease, that gift can come in at certain times and be a skill, right?
yes.
Where you're in charge of it. Like, that's
Yes.
where I love this work too. It's like,
Yes.
I'm a nurturer. Yes, it's made me self-abandon at times and whatever, but it's also a beautiful aspect about
Yeah.
myself. I'm a nurturer and I'm an empowered nurturer.
Yes.
Right? I'm in my power and how to nurture and when to nurture now. So it's like we can still have those things that we're like, oh, appease, or like, oh, but there's still an aspect that's going to serve us well if we can get into a different mental game about it, right? A spiritual understanding and a level of consciousness around that attribute that's going to actually serve us and those around us so much better.
And it's interesting because I think either abandonment or loneliness came up in my words as well, which came out all the way through my book. And
Mm,
and a lot of that was the identity as a spiritual being not fitting in as a human being. But now I actually understand it as the gift of being the spiritual being is what I've always meant to be. And I, fully accepted that now without trying to be anything different.
I
Or,
love
that I am the spiritual human rather
that.
than the human trying to be a spirit. So it's accepting that. And it's like, only thing is, like, if you're doing it with the children, it's like they're going to know this now. When you get older, why the hell didn't I know this earlier in life?
Exactly. They actually crack me up. It makes me giggle because sometimes I'll have a 14-year-old and she'll be like, I can't believe I didn't know this. I'm like, I'm just laughing so hard to myself because I'm like, oh my gosh, you're 14.
Yes,
Like, then there's women in their 50s going, I can't believe I didn't know it.
exactly,
It's like,
exactly.
all those grooves in the brain.
Yeah.
Right? So, but then we're just getting it. Then they act like, oh my gosh, like,
And the work that you're doing now is for people that are in transition that want to do that. But by doing it with the youth, you're saving them all that pain and suffering later on. And also, you're saving them time so they can put their living time into something more productive and rewarding.
oh, 1000%. And you know why I do? Because I wish I'd had someone like me back then.
Yes.
That is honestly,
As I said, the best teachers that has gone through it, you understand what they need. Yeah.
I was sensitive, I was kind, I was all the things. Like, I got picked on a little bit. I was pretty, I modeled, like all the things, but nobody told me about people's projections, or
Mm,
you know what I mean? I just took it all into my tender
yeah.
little heart, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's just, yeah, I don't, yeah, we just need to give them what we didn't have. Like, I just, that is so profound. Like, let's give them what we didn't have.
We looked at our circumstances through the lens of societal dictation and expectation.
Absolutely.
You're showing them lenses of their truth,
There it
of
is.
their very being. They're not going to be affected by societal's expectation now.
Yeah. And like, there's a huge difference between internal worth and external validation.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
when we can differentiate and delineate between those two, it's everything for them.
The old terminology, it's none of my business who likes me or doesn't like me,
Yeah.
right? That's their choice,
Yep.
right? And as long as you knowingly haven't done anything to harm someone or hurt someone, um, this is, that your truth of being, and that no, we can't make people like us. We could be likable,
Yep.
right? And people can like or not like us. Again, back to their choice. It could be their cup of tea or not, their choice. Don't take it on if they don't. It's really got nothing to do with you.
But have a mom tell an adolescent
Yeah.
that, they're not going to listen.
No, no, no.
White
What
noise,
kid
white
listens to
noise.
mother even now?
Totally. That's why I love partnering with moms and doing
Yeah.
this, because when it comes from someone and I do have a gift of speaking into their life, or there's something about my energy, like, and it's kind of why I love working with them, because they can call BS, right? And so they know you're the real deal, right? When you're with them,
Yes.
I love that. But then it gives the moms more authority to then speak to them about the topics that I speak to them about. Like, and they can use,
Oh, to apply it to themselves.
remember when Renae said this, or remember, oh yeah, okay. You know what I mean? But it's just,
Yeah.
it takes effort. Like, it's so much easier said than done to be like, oh, nobody's gonna like you, or who cares if you're not everybody's cup of tea. Like, those are easy words. But for
Mm.
an adolescent, when fitting in and being seen,
Yeah.
identity is being,
Yes.
figured out, it's like for them to have words, to have skills, to have practices, to really, negate some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a human desire. We want to be liked, but to put it in that perspective, it's to help them understand that at such a young age is, it's profound. It's profoundly empowering.
But the empowerment of a kid stepping into their own, and then the parent looking at who they've become. And again, inspiration begins the invitation for them then to do the work themselves.
And it does. That's the beautiful part of it. And like I always say too to the moms, I'm like, a lot of us, do you see you in your daughter? Like, do you know what I mean? So it's just like,
Yeah.
let's break those generational patterns now. Like, let's get her solid, because it's just, even they just can't hear a mom at that time as much. You still may have an incredible relationship with a daughter, but it's just different. It's coming from someone else, and
Yeah.
that's what the moms tell me anyway. So
But this it's again, it's that when somebody steps into their light, they illuminate the path for others. They illuminate, their own. How many people go through life inner discontent, inner disconnect, and don't even realize it? They're so busy. I look at, these housewife shows, all the plastic surgery, all this and all that, all the infighting and everything else. And it's like, where's the love? They don't have it for each other. They don't have it for themselves. It's this, they've bought into this facade. Do they look happy? Do they look fulfilled? The big answer is no. But why are we buying into that facade?
yeah, because it's an escape from having to look at ourselves.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I really believe that. It's like, it's just a diversion from what we really need to look at.
Yeah,
So
the reality ones I watch is things like Survivor and the Voice and these, the music things, because you're seeing people being pushed to be more than what they are, to
yeah,
extend themselves to more than what they, thought they could do, to do things they never thought they were capable of, and achieving that. And I love to see people kind of come alive. God, I didn't know I could do that,
yeah,
and that's, you stop selling yourself short. There's so many things you can do. You've just got to push yourself out of your comfort zone.
absolutely. Yes. But if your nervous system won't allow you,
Yes. Get the nervous system. I'm
you
I'm
don't
very much with
know.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, going back to when I'm suffering with anxiety and depression and everything else, and I still get it now and again. And I know it for me, it's a tap on the shoulder. You're overexhausted. You're overextended, right? But when that nervous system was at its pitch, it was because I was buying in to everything else on the outside, and as I healed that, then my nerves have got stronger. And yes, our mind may want to do something, our nervous system wants to do something else. So we've got to get our nervous system in sync with the desire to want to change.
that's all. That's exactly it. Yeah, that's the work. That is the work. Yeah.
And the work doesn't have to be hard. Initially, change can be hard, but when the light bulb goes off, I was unaware. And I said, when you're aware, you begin to care. And when you care, you do something about it,
And
right?
awareness is the first key to anything, anyways. So
Absolutely. And
yeah,
it's like, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that to myself. I didn't realize I reacted this way. I didn't realize that. Now you do. There's the empowerment. There's the invitation. Now you can change that paradigm. What do you need to do to change it? Right?
so,
That's the invitation. And
yes,
that invitation is to each and every one of us to rise up within ourselves
yeah.
and be the feminine energy out there in the world that is so desperately needed right now. the common sense love, what we
Yeah.
so need in the world right now. We are the solution. We know who the hell the problem is, but we are the solution. And it's almost stepping into mama mode, rolling up our sleeves and going,
Yeah.
you're going to play nice.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's really just, yeah, I love that. And I just want to go back to what you're saying too. It's just like, I think we can say that the belief, oh, the work is hard, and then it will be hard. But I also think, like what my teen girls and even the women, that's just like, this is so refreshing. This is
Exactly.
so refreshing. It's like, but we think it's hard. So our brains always want to avoid anything that's hard. So we can just even say, like, okay, it might be hard, but I can do hard things. Do you know what I mean? That's how we
Mm,
combat it. And it's,
yes. And resistance is futile. You
yeah,
know,
it really is. And I mean, I
yes.
would honestly say the work I've done, I wouldn't find, I, I don't know if I would use the word hard. I would say that
A challenge
it's a challenge. That's how
up
I
to the challenge, right? Yeah.
would say, because I think grief comes out or this comes
Mm,
out, but it's also, it's freedom.
yes.
It is
I'm
free.
no longer shackled by
Yes.
these emotions, right?
Like
Yeah.
it's, and everything that I'm teaching these girls, it's like, I put them into practice in my life every single day. Like
Mm.
it's, yeah, it's just in the tool belt. It's in the consciousness. It's in the awareness. It's in the emotional and spiritual intelligence to know how to navigate this human life from a divine perspective, where we,
And they'll use that tool over and over in every step of their lives,
yes, and then that
right?
strengthens the neural pathway.
Exactly.
And then when that's strengthened, then oh my gosh, what are they going to do? Like I'm so excited to hear about some of the girls that I'm working with and how they will lead the way forward. I
Look
just,
at the youth that we have today. There are so many incredibly talented, we call them indigo kids, because they're so tapped into their soul and spirit and their ability. The confidence in who they are and what they have
but
is
I think
so
that's also
beautiful.
why they're struggling,
Yes. Yeah.
because nobody's guiding them to tap deeper into that place. We're still stuck in this in between where they
Yeah.
have that fire, right? They have that, but it's just like it's not being nurtured.
Right.
So I think that's causing, the increase in suicides or
Mm,
like, all of those, the depression. I mean, what we know about depression is like, yes, there's a neurochemical depression, but also on a, meta or spiritual level, it's like you're not in alignment with your,
right.
what is good for you.
Exactly. And
First,
it could be very despairing, very. I've said to many shows I've done myself on the depression, do not tell us to snap out of it,
yeah, that's right.
or get over it. It's very often it's just something that we have to go through,
Absolutely.
right? And do what we need to do in order to get ourselves through. And then once we're through on the other side,
Yeah.
then we can put things, but while you're in it, it's like somebody's coming in and pulling your guts out.
So
There is no logic, there's no rhyme, there's no reason, there's none of that. It's just that awful feeling of despair. And I always say that probably 98% of the people that commit suicide didn't want to die. They just
yeah,
wanted the pain to stop.
totally. And if we could empower them, just what does despair want you to know?
Yes. Yes.
That is the work that I do. It's like, okay,
Right.
and then you get to the other side.
We're all going to have downtime. We're all going to have, something happen to us that's going to bring out despair or disconnect or hurt or pain. It's giving them the tools of how to handle that. And
Absolutely.
it's like going through the emotion and releasing it, crying, feeling it, like feel your emotions, but don't become emotional over your emotions.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like knowing how to work with the sympathetic, the
Mm.
parasympathetic, and there's always wisdom in every emotion. So yeah,
Wisdom is in us, around us, through us, and every particle of us. You've just got to learn how to tap in and listen, right?
absolutely. Yeah. And
Feel it.
it's a skill set. It is
Yes.
a skill set. You can't just say do it.
No, no.
Skills.
It's feeling the knowledge, not thinking the knowledge. Yeah,
Absolutely. And it's just like, when kids go to school, we all go to school and we learn a math equation. It's kind of like, well, this is the math of life. Like, how do we, get the equal sign to what we want or the answer? Well, we have to add it all up. We have to figure it out. Like, but we have to have the tools to do that.
exactly. And also realizing we're all an algorithm,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And what we put out is what we're going to receive. And if we want good vibe people around us, be a good vibe.
Absolutely.
You'll
Yes,
find your tribe because vibes go for vibes.
that's right.
I want to be on that shore and swim with you. Well, this has been absolutely delightful. I could talk to you forever, and I can't wait for you to come back and talk about your book because nobody gets to where you are today doing what you're doing today without your own trial and tribulation.
Yeah.
And so, understanding that trial and tribulation and how it redirected you to what you're doing today, which is very successful, heartfelt, and soul felt, and so empowering, not just for kids, but for any woman that wants to do that, has to have come from a place where we've had our own struggles. Because if it's already well taking a course on something, but unless you've actually lived it, how can you relate to it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's understanding when you know what pain is, when you know what suffering is, and you can make the choice that yeah, it's a struggle. Yes, it's a challenge, but I'm not going to let the pain or the suffering be a part of it. And now you can pass the skills and the tools and the knowledge on. That's the greatest gift.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and the pain and suffering was necessary. I mean,
Yeah. As
yeah.
much as we don't want it to be,
I
but it
know,
is,
no one did it. But
Exactly. But it is part of our human evolution. And, I believe that's what I believe right now. You know, uh, as I said, I'm 70. I started 25 years ago, kind of taking this path with blogging and teaching and this and that. And at that time, it was, all woo woo. Now they call it woke. Keep going backwards, and it was still something that was partially accepted, but still, and now it's just so beautiful to have someone like yourself who's fully and completely immersed yourself into it unapologetically, undeniably, and become such an essence for other people. And it gives me such hope that we will resolve the human condition and the hate and the disconnect and the hurt out there because, quite honestly, bottom line of it, love is all.
absolutely. Yeah, I love it, Sarah. Yeah.
So, if somebody has a teenager that they want to go through the program, or somebody is interested in this, plus you've got a giveaway, tell us about that.
Yes. So the giveaways for women, actually, it's called an energetic reset. So it's like a 90-minute session where we dive into some of the beliefs that have been holding you back and create a new portal for you to just create more freedom, liberation, and choice around that belief. And yeah, I just did one for someone just like last week. And within 2 days, she said, "Oh my gosh, my husband was trying to pull power over me and da da da." And it's like, I didn't even let it bother me. And she's like, but I wasn't even conscious. It was like a deep, just like, let it go. And you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I was like, that is the work. It's like,
Mm.
it's just the reset. It's just a really a reset of some of those beliefs and within your nervous system. It's very powerful. So, yeah.
And of course, to get that, you have to go to selfdiscoverywisdom.com and put in Renae Peterson, and that's Renae Peterson, Peterson, and the link will be on her show page. All right. So, in order to get that, you've got to go and do that. So, but you have a website, two websites, and your Facebook. How do people get hold of you there?
Yeah, so I'm in the middle of redoing my website, but you can go to reneepeterson.com, or I'm changing the name. It's not Beautiful Inside Academy, but beautifulinsideacademy.com for now. And then, yeah, it's Renae Peterson on Instagram and Renae Peterson on Facebook. So, and I'm on LinkedIn as well under Renae Peterson. But yeah, I would love to connect, and just any questions, like please reach out. I love to be able to just answer any questions and just book a call. There's no pressure. So.
The biggest leap we'll ever take in our life is the first step.
Absolutely.
Blind, deaf, and dumb in order to see, hear, and feel.
Whew, yeah,
We have to trust. We have to trust the universe has got us. We have to surrender to the universe and say, show me the path. Show me whom on the path I need to listen to. Show
totally.
me what I need to do in order to heal myself and empower myself to be what I'm here to do.
Absolutely. Feel that fear and do it anyways. It's what we want our kids to do, right? We don't want them.
Yes,
So let's show them that we're not doing that either.
exactly.
Mhm.
I mean, I look at my kids, my mother said, you're raising your children differently than I raised you. My own kids are doing the same. And, we learn from generation to generation, and there isn't any blame or shame because we bring up accordingly. And,
Yes,
the more we empower our children to become who they are and trust the beautiful essence of who they are, the better off we are going to be as a community, as a society, as a world.
absolutely. It's
Do we
exciting.
have a long way to go? Yes. But
Yeah.
are you, listener, you, viewer, part of the solution? Yes. When you
Mm,
step into your own beautiful essence and you become that meaningful purpose that you were brought here to do, you have now become that illumination for someone else. You've become that love and that essence of healing for someone else. And no matter what else you do, and the more we do it, each one of us, each drop of water in the ocean, the more this ocean then becomes something so beautiful to fortify.
absolutely. Very well said. Yes.
So wonderful having you. Can't wait to have you back on your book. Love to have you back anytime. You're just such a delight and a beautiful soul. I've
Oh,
really enjoyed this.
thank you, Sarah. And right back at you. You can only see that in me because it's in you as well.
Reflection, right? Yes, and that's what you're doing with other people. You're reflecting what's in them to show them,
Yes.
what their obstacles are, what their challenges are, but what their essence is and what they can really choose to be if they're willing to do the work. It's all back down to choice, folks, and
Yes.
igniting your heart and soul. Because
Mm,
once you've ignited that, that generator gets going and it keeps on going. It's wonderful. So
yeah.
thank you so much, Renae. And to everyone out there, you are your own beautiful hope. You are your own beautiful essence. Please don't be afraid to step into it. Renae is here to help you. The more that you embrace who you are, the more you become the solution to the world, but a solution to your own life. You know who you are, why you are, what you're here to do. And in that beautiful frequency, you become the love that we all seek and invite other people to find their love within themselves. So until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration, it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.